Hello and welcome, or even possibly welcome back, and today I'll be ranking with my opinion all the mainline games from the
Resident Evil
series, and I'll try and have better videos in the future, hopefully. Maybe, possibly. I'd also like to add a quick disclaimer that Resident Evil Zero, Resident Evil 1, and all the spin-off games other than Revelations 1 and 2 will not be on this list. Reason being is because I haven't played them yet. Don't come for me. Now here's my Resident Evil ranking.
This place Resident Evil 6, which I'm sure everyone knew was coming. This game just felt like a mess, and really left Resident Evil's horror elements for this action shooter game. The storyline was not interesting and difficult to get into. They added some of the series' most well-known characters such as Chris, Leon, Ada, and I suppose Sherry, but added random side characters such as Helena, like who the fuck is that, Jake, who is Wesker's son, and Piers, which I thought he wasn't too bad. This game was just overall boring, but the combat in this game felt very smooth and clean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't recommend this game to anyone unless you're going to play with a friend, which this game a lot going for with co-op mechanics. I haven't completed the game and I don't think I need to after what I just said.
Next up is Resident Evil 5. I think this game is a lot better than Resident Evil 6, but it still is an action survival game with Resident Evil for mechanics. I think this game holds up really well in graphics considering it. Came out in 2009. This poor guy looks like he's squeezing out of shit. This game had a lot of hype about co-op and split screen at the time, which really boosted it, and sales making it one of the best selling Resident Evil games. In this game, the protagonists are Chris Redfield and Sheva Alona, which I like both of them a lot, and I wish Sheva got to be in another game. You could really see the shift in action from this game compared to the ones before it. The villain in this game is Albert Wesker. I thought he was a very good villain, with a few cheesy iconic lines like other...
Ah, there you are! 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
Also in this game, Chris punches a boulder. Very helpful, Chris. Overall, I think this game is good, but isn't very horror. Next up is Resident Evil Revelations 1, which I thought was really good. This game came out in the same. Here is Resident Evil 6, but brought back the horror elements. This time the protagonists are Jill and Parker, Chris and Jessica, Keith and Quint as our main playable characters. This game is split into episodes, with each episode lasting around 30 to 50 minutes. This game was originally designed for the Nintendo DS, but was brought to consoles. I did feel like this game was missing something like more of a relevant villain, but overall I thought this game was really good other than the voice actor that voiced Jill.
Take us around. Let's find a boarding point.
Next up on the list was very hard to choose, but I chose Resident Evil for original. I haven't played the remake yet, but really want to. The reason why this game is kinda low for me is the clunky mechanics with shooting and walking. But other than that, this game was so ahead of its time for 2005. This game had a great storyline, and I loved the atmosphere, music in the save rooms, and the enemies' bosses. But Holy was actually annoying whenever she said Leon and other stuff like that.
No.
I think another reason why this game is so low for me is because I didn't grow up with it. But overall, this game is a great Resident Evil game once you get into it like I did. Now we're up to my top 5, and at 5th place we have Resident Evil Revelations 2. I think this game was so good and much more interesting than the first Revelations. The graphics, gameplay, everything just felt so smooth. I thought this game was quite scary but I love how this game was also cut into episodes and chapters, with one half being Claire's and Moria's and the other half being Barry's and Natalia's. And I think it's cool how Barry's campaign is 6 months after Claire's to find his missing daughter Moria, but there's two endings to the game. The villain in this game is yet another Wesker, first Albert, then Jake, and now Wesker's sister Alex. Overall, I thought this game was so fun to play, and I highly recommend this underrated and underappreciated game. Next up at 4th place is Resident Evil 3 Remake. I think this game was really good and was really similar to the Resident Evil 2 Remake. I like the characters, the introduction to Carlos, and I like Nemesis. I just wish he wasn't so scripted. The game did feel quite short, but this game has amazing graphics, and I feel like this game got way too much hate than what it did. I actually enjoyed it, but why did Nemesis turn into a big bloody blob? Next up at number 3 is Resident Evil 8 Village. This game gave Ethan Winters a bit more of a character, and I thought this game was really good. I haven't played this one in a while, but I need to replay it soon. I like how it had that feeling of Resident Evil 4 at the start with the village, then went to different villains like Lady Dimitrescu, Carl Heisenberg, and Mother Miranda as the main ones. Also, Ethan got freaky with Mia and had a baby. I'm surprised it wasn't moldy. One of the scariest things from this game was probably that gooey baby that tries to find you and you have no weapons to attack it. I thought this game was great until the final boss fight with Mother Miranda. It felt extremely easy and boring, but it was okay enough. Overall, I highly recommend this game, and I wonder what Resident Evil 9 will be like after this one. Now at second place we have Resident Evil 2 Remake. I thought this game was amazing, with Leon and Claire both becoming some of my favorite characters in this game. I love the spookiness in the police department, and when you unlock Mr. X it makes it so much more intense, even with zombies still running around. In this game we also meet Ada Wong, who I always thought and seemed to be really mysterious. And with Claire's campaign we meet Sherry, who is later brought into Resident Evil 6. I thought the laboratory part of this game was fun and scary. And the ending in this game was really good, seeing Leon, Claire and Sherry all be happy. I thought this game was amazing, and I really don't think it has any problems with it. Finally, we have made it to the end. At first place, my favorite game in the series is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This was the first ever Resident Evil game I've played, and I just loved it. The slow pace at the start, finding your wife with a crazy family around the house, was just so scary. Jack Baker coming out of walls, Marguerite Baker crawling around like a bug, and Lucas Baker being a crazy person really added to the atmosphere. This game brought back the horror survival with a creaky, claustrophobic house. Due to not every game being perfect, I thought the boat part of the game stood out a lot, and not in a good way. We say the villain behind it all, Evelyn, a lot there, and the mold zombies, but other than that I think the game should have just expanded along the house. I love this Resident Evil game so much. Thanks to everyone that came and watched my first video. To help my channel, please consider subscribing for more content, and comment down below for what you guys want to see next Resident Evil related. Leave a like rating down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.